Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Amit Beyond. Today I'm joined by Connor
Hey guys.
and Mike,
Hello.
and we are recording this seconds after the first Nintendo Direct in over a year.
And perhaps the greatest disappointment of 2021.
What a stinker of a direct this was.
I will
if
say there was a
ahead.
massive highlight, and that's Outer Wilds on Switch. That's
Yeah.
pretty incredible. Although I have to say that game is probably going to run like garbage, but anything that puts that in the hands of more people is good by me.
See, no, I mean there were some bright spots here, but if I were to personally rate this Direct for me, it'd be like a 5 out of 10 maybe.
Wow, that's really low for you.
Yeah, the Fall Guys on Switch, like, if that would have came out maybe, what was it, 6 months ago?
Yeah, 6 or 7
That
months
would've
ago,
been
yeah, that would have been incredible. That's probably
mean,
why I'd have bought it. Yeah.
If
It's
we
like
just make
6
some
months later.
educated guesses here, like they said at the beginning of the presentation, obviously COVID is affecting them, and understandably so, right? But I think that's why we're seeing like this was the Direct of like ports essentially.
Yeah,
like
you're
most of this presentation were just like, okay, look at these games, look at these older games.
What
In
it
some
really was
cases,
the direct of JRPGs too. I mean, good God, were there a lot of them?
yeah,
They're way
Nintendo
too
like
much
fully
RPGs.
doubled down on anime, and
Yeah.
I guess they determined that's what the youth's into nowadays.
I don't know. I mean, I think that those are just cheap ports to make. You know,
Yeah, no, like I think the port idea is, I think that's directly related to COVID. Obviously, I'm just guessing here, but like I'd imagine their major titles, because of COVID were pushed further down the pipeline, and to make up for that, they got some easy wins in with some ports, and that's largely what we saw here today.
We
It
did
just
get a new
kinda-
Smash character, though.
Yeah, yeah. So this new Smash character. So now we have two unknown fighters left, but this new one, Pyra, right, and Mithra.
Pyra and Mithra.
So I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so this pick didn't do anything for me, but I do remember seeing the name Pyra come up often as like a desired character, so I guess that's cool if it makes people happy. Do you guys know about these characters?
yeah, I think Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is an okay game, and like picking Pyra and Mithra is a way better choice than picking Rex. So like that's nice, but I don't care really.
Does
Yeah.
Xenoblade 2 stand up to the peak that was Xenoblade 1?
I haven't played that.
A lot of from the impressions I've seen, most people put Xenoblade 1 over 2. I think Xenoblade 1 is often regarded as like one of the Switch's best titles, or
What are the
specifically,
Wii's best titles?
Yeah, sorry, one of the Wii's best titles. Xenoblade Chronicles X, I think, gets a lot of praise too. But again, I don't really know anything about these games. I'd probably like them if I played them.
I think a character from X, while I don't care about that game, I think a character from X would have been way more interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know. Was 2 a Switch game? I don't remember.
2 was a Switch game.
The only thing I remember about 2 is how terrible the voice acting is, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
and that showed in that
didn't
showed
you
in that
say
trailer.
like they had like weird Scottish accents for some reason?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that that
Did you
game?
not hear
Yeah.
Rex in that trailer?
No, I did, but it was just
Yeah,
it was strange.
It's atrocious.
You know,
Yeah.
I
It's really-
honestly would prefer them to just keep the Japanese dub in that case. Like, it would probably come across as more impressive, but maybe that's to me.
Did they change Shulk's voice actor as well? Because he didn't sound the same as he usually did.
I don't know.
Just in that clip.
I thought he sounded the same as he did in Smash, at least. I don't know about the game, but
But yeah, overall, I just gotta say, bringing Aonuma on and having him stand there silently for nearly 5 full seconds.
God. Oh, why would they do that? They gotta know what they're doing.
Yeah,
too.
and like, sorry, no Breath of the Wild 2. And then they don't even like, it's not delayed or anything, but
No,
they
no,
say
no.
we might have news
Connor,
this
no.
year, which means it's not coming this year.
Connor,
And then they
it's
follow it
even
up with,
worse.
here, don't worry, we ported the worst 3D Zelda.
Dude, no. Listen, he deliberately hyped us up because if you remember, he was like, "You're probably wondering if I have news on Breath of the Wild 2." That's how he started it out, and then he was
They're
just
monsters.
like, "Yeah, I don't."
Yeah. It was cruel. It was cruel. I'm not buying Skyward Sword on Switch. There's no way. It has probably
might
my
buy it.
favorite single dungeon from any 3D Zelda game, but that game has so many critical flaws that it really, unless Grezzo was in charge of this, they're probably not fixed. Like, I mean, God,
so
spoiling every puzzle.
I think I saw that it's going to be running at 60 frames, which is cool, I guess.
I might pick it up then.
That trailer just looked
played
sped
Skyward
up.
Sword
Like,
yet.
I was watching that trailer, it didn't look right. Like, it didn't look like 60 frames per second. It looked like 30 frames per second sped up.
I don't know. I mean, obviously 60 would be like the big selling point of this game, especially if you've never played it before. For me, I had Skyward Sword on the Wii, but for whatever reason, I think I just lost interest, but I only played like the first 4 or 5 hours. I think I did like a dungeon and a half or something.
Yeah, it has the worst start of any Zelda game by far.
The start was very slow, but like I think especially with this drought of Zelda we're experiencing, that will be something to at least tide me over a little longer.
I wouldn't bother. It's my least favorite Zelda by far. If I could wipe one, that would be my pick.
I mean,
probably.
just based off what I experienced in terms of 3D Zeldas, I'd probably agree with you. Like if that announcement at the end had been like Twilight Princess remastered or
I'd love that.
or Wind Waker remastered, like
even though they just did that on the Wii U.
direct, this whole direct would have been brought up for me, I think.
But honestly, honest to God, any other Zelda game, I would have been more excited if they like remade Wand of Gamelon. Like,
it just sucks because like I want Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, but deep down I feel like I'm not going to get it because I think Nintendo thinks like, hey, we just put out remasters of this on Wii U, so we're not going to touch that for a while, which just sucks because like obviously so many more people have a Switch than they had a Wii U.
Yeah. It's really inaccessible to play Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD because where are you going to find a Wii U?
Yeah.
No one bought any, so there's none out there to buy.
Yeah, it's still over $100 to get a Wii U.
It's super expensive, and it's just not worth it for 2 games that you'll play.
Yeah, and those really are like the only games left.
Yeah, that's the
also,
only 2 games.
Splatoon 3 is a weird, like,
Sorry, go ahead.
Splatoon 2, like that just feels like a 1 game per console game to me. And like
Splatoon 2 came out near the beginning of the Switch, right?
Yeah. So that would be 4 years ago. So I guess that's not a terrible turnaround time for a sequel.
Are either of you guys into Splatoon? Because it doesn't do anything for me.
No, I tried Splatoon 2 and I just don't get it. It just feels like not good. It doesn't feel
played
good
it
to me.
See, a lot of the things shown in this direct, Splatoon 3 included, made me think like, maybe like the kids' tastes and my tastes aren't the same anymore, and Nintendo's is obviously targeting what the kids want, right?
I don't think that's true. I think this was just an underwhelming direct.
It's the kids who are wrong.
It's the kids. That's exactly what I was getting at.
No, because I can't see a kid honestly sitting here and getting excited about 7 JRPGs getting announced.
I mean, I'm sure Splatoon 3,
Splatoon 3, yeah, no.
Okay,
my younger brother, who's not that much younger, he's like 4 years younger than me. He's probably like extremely hyped for Splatoon 3. That's not what I'm talking about. I just mean like the trailer overall. Also, like, can we talk about that really bad EA dodgeball game trailer?
Oh my god!
That went on forever.
That looked like if someone had just like taken a bunch of like marketing reports and like wrung the liquid out of them and formed that liquid into a game.
See how
that's what it'd be.
What was the? Oh, that was the DC girls one.
It was the most generic.
I'm not gonna sit here and make fun of the DC girls one because that's a children's cartoon like licensed game. Like that's low hanging fruit. I'm sure kids are gonna be disappointed by that. But like
the EA title looked like it was made by marketing robots. Like
EA, all of EA's titles looked atrocious. And that one, the Plants vs Zombies, like that was just full of Fortnite assets.
And also, I don't know how relevant Plants vs. Zombies is in 2021. I feel like it had its say a few years ago. I don't know.
I mean, that game didn't even look bad. Like, it looked okay.
There was one I liked. I liked the look of Neon White, mainly because first-person hard battler. Ooh.
Yeah, that was a very unique sort of thing.
That looks unique.
It kind of looked like Doom Eternal, but with card games, which
Yeah,
is
I'm watching the trailer again. It just really stuck out for me for some reason.
yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of like unique gameplay, that was I think the most unique thing we saw. Like I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that before, which is always refreshing.
Yeah, I
That's
think
another Annapurna
that's the
game.
winner.
I've liked their output recently. They're the ones
What
who
else?
published Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds, right?
Oh yeah, okay. That's why I recognize the name. It it looks cool. Like I get it's a card battler, but man, can card battlers
It
be
all,
fun?
but it also has an anime aesthetic. Just to tie it back to what we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. I mean, yeah, kids like anime. Anime's bigger now than it's ever been.
Yes,
I'm not going to deny
that
that,
is
but I
true.
don't think JRPGs are.
Can we talk about how Zynga, the company that's most known for releasing Farmville, is developing a Star Wars game?
Is that what that was? I mean, that's a mobile
Yeah.
game, right? Like,
No, it's on the Switch.
No,
Apparently,
they said
yeah,
it'd be
well,
like
yeah,
a
I know it's on
third-person-
Switch, but it's a mobile game. Like,
it's a multiplayer game. Is it just going to be like some weird child between Mafia Wars and
I just don't.
Farmville?
They didn't show anything. They just announced, and that's another thing about this direct that really stuck out to me. Almost everything was everything of consequence was 2022, which is
Yeah.
really, I mean, I get it, right? But it
I
still
think
sucks.
Japan. I mean, Japan actually shut down for COVID. So stuff over there is way behind.
I hear you, Connor, but think back to Sony's announcement prior to the PS5. They announced Demon Souls and Ratchet and Clank and all these things. So it's just
Well, Blue Point, and Ratchet and Clank, aren't they? They're not Japanese.
Insomniac. Oh, you're right. Yeah, Insomniac. Well, yeah, that's true. Their
Yeah,
company
I'm
is in
saying-
America. Yeah.
Anything made in America is fine because we have a totally irresponsible system here that didn't shut down for our pandemic, so stuff still got made, and we just sacrificed 200,000 people's lives for it.
Right, but like I know like Sony devs in particular, first party studios did transition to working from home, okay, but obviously every team's different. I don't know if Nintendo had more difficulty with that.
Japan their infrastructure was totally incompatible with working from home. I read about it a little bit. A lot of people didn't even have home internet. And like most of them don't have computers at home and stuff.
Yeah, and so like I mean obviously it's understandable, right? Things getting pushed out because of COVID. That doesn't make it any less disappointing.
It doesn't sting any less. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it sucks because like if this is what they were going to give us for the first direct since September 2019, I would rather.
I mean, I'll be
wait.
honest. I sat around all day today excited for this, and then
Honestly, I would just have them wait until they had like an insane showcase and then just show us then. Like I don't know why they had to make it
back to that Star Wars game because I've been doing research and Zynga's bought Natural Motion. The last game Natural Motion released was in 2016 for iOS and Android. In fact, every game that development studio has released has been either like an arcade title for the Xbox 360 or an Android game.
Yeah, that doesn't really bode too well.
So it's a bad game.
It's going to be a bad game. I'm pretty certain with 99% accuracy that it's going to be an absolute disaster.
This was a bad direct. I
just want to bring it back really quick to the very beginning when they showed the new Smash character, Pyra, right?
I really did not think that was a Smash trailer. I thought that was
more
DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
I was literally just about to say, dude, I think I've just caught on to Sakurai because like literally 0.5 seconds into that trailer, I was like, this is Smash. I just knew it.
I had no idea. I was sitting here like, oh, I was texting my buddy Tyler, who was a little bit late to from getting home from work to watch it, and I was like, oh, you haven't missed anything of consequence. It's just Xenoblade stuff. And then I saw the letter, and I was like, oh no, what have I done?
Oh no!
Yeah, like as soon as it started, I had a hunch it was Smash, and then when he was asking, oh, where is Pyra? I was like, okay, this is definitely Smash because she's in Smash. That's why you can't find her. Like I called.
Yeah, you really got Sakurai's number.
Yeah. I just think that's kind of funny, because like near the beginning, like when he was showing these revealing these DLC characters, it was like masterful. Like no one could predict. Smash could come out of nowhere, but I feel like lately, for the last few at least, it's been pretty obvious.
Yeah, I guess for you, not for me, not at all.
But yeah, I mean, the other, I think, highlight of this direct that I think most people will probably be interested in is Mario Golf. right?
Yeah, that looked weirdly good, actually.
So Mario Golf has always been quite good, from my understanding, but
yeah, but
I don't know. Like I think you can clearly see the impact of golf-based RPG games like Golf
Yeah.
Story in
Well,
this.
actually,
This game has like
Mario Golf did that first. Mario Golf on Game Boy was a.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't remember if it was Game Boy or Game Boy Advance, but yeah.
So yeah, the story mode with like RPG elements and like just for me at least, bringing back like the Wii Golf and like Wii Sports,
Yeah,
like using your motion controls to putt the golf ball.
It would have been
like
a huge missed opportunity not to do that, because that was pretty fun.
That's a huge draw to me. Like I used to play Wii Sports often with friends and family, and we played golf all the time. And to have that sort of live on in this game is really sweet. And like they did mention, like obviously there's multiplayer there and stuff. So like I feel like I'm going to be playing this game quite a bit.
It's kind of funny because I hate, like I've gone golfing before and I hate it. I think it's the most boring thing in the world. But
golf games are fun. Like
it just looks so goofy, the speed golf mode.
Yeah.
Oh, it does look. I do love me a goofy golf game, not gonna lie.
But yeah, goofy Mario sports are just good fun. Like I would never buy a FIFA game, but Mario Strikers, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't buy any of the EA Sports titles, but for some reason when Mario puts out like Mario Tennis or Mario Golf.
Well, yeah, because the Mario Golf games have vision.
It's just, I don't know. They're so much fun. Like even I remember sinking countless hours into Mario Tennis on Nintendo 64, and I still need to get the new one on Switch.
I hear it's considerably worse than.
Then maybe.
Or no, actually, I don't think the Switch one is that bad now that it got a bunch of content updates. It was the Wii U one that was terrible.
There was a Wii U Mario Tennis? I didn't even know.
Yeah, it was like called Super Strikers or something.
Strikers is soccer.
No, right? It was called. I forget what it was called, but it was really bad. I
just think it's fascinating to me that Nintendo makes all these Mario sports titles. Like it's just like that's their counter to like the FIFAs and
they're
Maddens.
Way better.
Well, I don't know. To us, they're way better, but like
they're different every time at least.
Yeah, the others are the same game every year with a few tweaks, and also just are in the top 5 selling games of each year. So
I can't be sure like on leaks anymore because they've always like recently they've just been wrong about like Smash characters and whatever's going to come out in the Nintendo Directs.
Have the Smash leaks? I don't think the Smash leaks have ever been accurate, have they? It's just people claiming.
It's people guessing. Close. Yeah.
I mean, people guessed Banjo before Banjo was revealed.
People have been guessing Banjo since.
Speaking of leaks, though, CD Projekt Red hack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe
talk about this, and I'm pivoting.
Should we pivot? There's a couple things I wanted to touch on.
If you want to touch on some more stuff for the Direct, I think we should get that out of the way. I'm pretty much out of stuff. I'm ready to talk about CDPR, I think.
I just wanted to mention one game that kind of stood out to me. It was that project. You know what I'm talking about?
The terrible
Project
Octopath Traveler
Strategy Triangle.
Clone sequel. Yeah.
Yeah, Project Strategy Triangle, which is like the worst name ever, even if it's just a code name. I'm sorry, that's just terrible.
Well, Octopath Traveler was a code name too, so.
Yeah, and that ended up being the real name for the game. So I hope this game isn't Strategy Triangle when it comes out. But, terrible name aside, the gameplay did seem kind of interesting to me. It's a strategy RPG with that gorgeous Octopath like 2D art style.
Yeah, and the art style is all that game brings to the table to me.
Yeah, that strategy RPG gameplay is something I'm pretty interested in, and it seemed like it had consequential narrative decisions that shape the story too. So I have my eye on that one.
I will not be fooled by consequential narrative decisions. I've been fed that line since 2007 or something, and it's never been true. So.
Well, I mean, if it's like Fire Emblem at all, like in Fire Emblem, like if your party members die, they stay dead. And the story just sort of adapts around that. So
yeah, but that's not a decision. That's a failing. That's a failure on your part.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know. That's easy. That's an easy. The story's the same overall. You just slightly different based on which characters are alive.
Yeah, sure. The story's the same overall, but it's just nice seeing it gives you a little more agency, at least, in how the story develops, even if the endpoint's the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, aside from that, like we said before, this did not have to be a direct. It could have been a mini or maybe a series of tweets or something else.
Yeah, a series of tweets would have been fine for this. Mario Golf And yeah, everybody needs to go buy Outer Wilds on their Switch. I might buy it again. I love
Yeah,
game
like
so
I
much.
think you were right earlier when you said I don't think it's going to run well at all on Switch.
I can't imagine it will. I've tried to run it on some low-end hardware before. I mean, granted, it's going to be way better optimized on Switch,
Yeah.
but there are a couple of things in that game that I feel like are going to be removed, like just wholesale removed on Switch. Like on consoles, you can like rest at a campfire to make time move a little faster,
Mhm.
but it literally simulates the game faster. You know, when you're doing that, it just stops rendering and focuses totally on the simulation. And I
Mhm.
feel like on Switch, you're just not going to be able to do that because I imagine it's going to be running at full speed, you know, as fast as it can all the time.
Yeah.
The simulation in that game is pretty complicated.
Yeah.
All the orbits are quote unquote real in that game. So,
But yeah, aside from a select few titles, this direct really had nothing for me. And even the titles I was interested in is just like a cursory interest, nothing I'm like actually hyped for. So
yeah, I mean, Monster Hunter Rise, but we already knew about that. No More Heroes 3, we already know about that. Glaringly deafening in their silence, I feel like, are Bayonetta 3 and Metroid Prime 4.
yeah, who knows when those games are coming out? Like
We didn't
I
even
have no
get
prediction at
a
this point.
director to, you know,
Say that they're
just
working on it.
rub
Well,
salt in the wound.
Well, I mean, like Breath of the Wild. I mean, I kind of get it, right? Like normally they wouldn't have done that, but Breath of the Wild 2 is an exception. That's probably one of the most anticipated games of all time at this point. So
Yeah. I don't know.
it's pain sometimes being a Nintendo fan.
It's agonizing, yeah. I was hoping they were going to talk about they did some restructuring to Nintendo Online recently. I think they finally took it off Windows 98 or something.
That checks out.
That's not me being sarcastic. Like it literally was running on like 20-year-old hardware or something.
Oh, actually, you know what's more sus about that Star Wars game as I'm looking into it? It comes out this year with no gameplay in a trailer.
And it's like the only one that's
Yeah,
coming
that's-
out this year in that entire direct.
If your game is coming out this year and you get a 30-second teaser, that's a
With
red
no
flag.
gameplay.
No
yeah,
gameplay.
why did they even show it?
That's I'm just gonna say don't get hyped for it. It's gonna be a disaster. Usually
Yeah.
they'd have at least some gameplay at this point, but they're describing it as a squad-based free-to-play arena combat game.
Oh boy, we didn't have
Oh.
enough of those.
Boy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the only thing I'm like 100% going to get from this direct is Skyward Sword, but like even that I'm not like jazzed over.
I'll probably get Monster Hunter Rise, but I already knew that. That's not news.
All right, Mike, you want to pivot?
All right, so CDPR got hacked last week.
Was that only last week? I feel
Yeah,
like that
that
was like
seems
last
like
week.
it was longer ago.
And now the Witcher source code is out in the wild. Someone has it.
The first one?
The third one. Witcher 3
Huh?
source code and Cyberpunk source code's out in the wild right now.
If
Yeah,
I
saw.
remember,
So they released the Cyberpunk source code, and I saw a bunch of morons on the internet saying like, "Oh, finally, the fans can fix this broken game." And I'm like,
No,
man,
that's-
like that's true sometimes when like there's some weird design decision that ruins the game. But The Witcher, or not The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk is broken on a technical level, and like nobody's gonna fix that for free. Like that's a really hard fix. They're not like being lazy; they just can't do it yet.
It's a lot
so-
of people were like they deserved it, but no one deserves their entire source code and work to be just sold to the internet.
So just to give a quick recap, so we're all up to speed. Some malicious actor hacked into CDPR's servers or whatever and stole the source code for I think The Witcher 3, Gwent, and you're saying Cyberpunk as well? I didn't know about
yeah, they
Cyberpunk.
took Cyberpunk as well.
Okay. And I believe so they left like a ransom note, and I mean obviously CDPR put out a statement rebuking that and saying they weren't going to comply. But I believe they sold the Witcher source code like on the black market to someone. Is that true? Did you hear about that?
They sold it. They were auctioning it off, and I believe they sold it maybe for $7 million. At least Cyberpunk source code. So someone somewhere out there, might be CDPR, has Cyberpunk source code, and they paid $7 million for it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about Cyberpunk, but I heard that they
internal
did that with
documents.
the Witcher. Yeah, that's actually the most risky part. They have like employee data, like addresses
Yeah,
and stuff, which is
that's-
really kind of nasty.
Yeah, that's not cool.
But I believe they sold Witcher, right? And you're saying they sold Cyberpunk as well.
I think they sold a whole group.
I think they posted Gwent's source code like online, just like,
they didn't
sell it.
Ray trace version of Witcher as well in that source code hack.
So yeah, all around that it just kind of sucks for CDPR. Like
it's
good. I don't think this actor who hacked him, this malicious actor, did it because they were mad about Cyberpunk. Like I hope that's not the reason, right?
No, I think this was an attack. They wanted money or something.
They wanted money. This seems like a calculated attack by like a skilled hacker.
I think so this is actually a bad take that I see a lot is like and it's something I've been guilty of before, is like this view of hackers as a bunch of losers sitting in their mom's basements or whatever. And that is extremely reductive because like cybersecurity is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And
I agree. But sometimes hackers have that stigma, especially because of how they act. Like, did you read that ransom note they left?
Well, yeah, they act this way on purpose because they want people to think they're not a real threat. Like they want to be a meme because people don't hunt down a meme,
Yeah.
Like they don't want the public to turn on them. They want the public to think they're losers, Like their job is easier that way. They don't want to be taken.
I think for Cyberpunk, they wanted to appear as a meme. That way, the already angry community could rally behind them for some reason. Like, I get you're angry that the game was a disaster on launch, but that doesn't mean you should be celebrating a massive cyber attack against the development studio.
Yeah, that's not going to make your game better.
It's not going to make it. In fact, it's going to delay everything as they're now devoting resources to investigating what happened.
Right. And cybersecurity, as someone, on the edge of that industry, it's not pretty. It's not fun. It's not, well, it is fun sometimes. You get to do some fun stuff, but it's not easy. It's not like, it's not like you do the exact same thing now, but it's secure now. Like you have to change protocol, everybody's changing their passwords. Everybody's, having to deal with new security measures. It's not a fun thing.
Yeah. So anytime a hack happens, you now have to go through your entire infrastructure and say what went wrong. We got to patch that hole. It's an arms race basically, and a lot of people don't realize that about cybersecurity.
Yeah, I feel bad for CDPR. Obviously, they were already sort of on fire from like Cyberpunk 2077 and dealing with the hatred and just fixes and like management versus the devs at CDPR, and now they have to deal with this. So
and like their addresses are out there now, right? Like all these people that were getting death threats, now those threats are suddenly kind of credible,
No, yeah, like I don't know if they've posted them online or sold them or what, but like they were compromised for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be wanting to pack up my bags and move my family because of a video game. Like,
I'm getting real tired of seeing Cyberpunk in news articles, and it's not patch notes. Like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I want
almost everything but patch notes.
I'm tired of Cyberpunk. I own the game. I play the game. I do not want to see it in the news anymore. It's been 2 months.
The next time I want to see it in the news is when it finally goes under $20 so I can buy it.
Yeah, I have faith that CDPR will fix the game.
Me too.
But it's a rough road. It's playable right now. I've been playing through it.
I mean, it looks fun. And like, I watched some gameplay. It looks fun enough that I want to buy it. I just don't want to. I mean, I'm on a 1070 right now. I certainly would rather wait until my 3080 gets here, which is.
I mean, a 1070 runs it. I think I can run it on ultra at 30, high at 45, and medium at 60-ish.
That's not too bad. But I would rather play at RTX on and DLSS and, really just sit back and be blown away by my car that explodes off of the road for no reason.
Yeah, I've seen some bugs, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even, like, invested enough in the game to care when I run into the bugs,
What else happened in the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's been a while since we recorded.
It has been a while.
I mean, I have some games I want to talk about. I finally played something other than Minecraft, which is nice.
I have a lot of games I want to talk about.
Actually, yeah, I agree with both of you. Like, I have a couple games I want to talk about in depth. So maybe we could just switch to that.
Dibs on first.
Okay.
I have not played, or I've already beaten Super Mario 3D World. I beat that on Wii U. Fun game.
Yeah.
Bowser's Fury is amazing.
I'm excited to play this.
So I'm not gonna spoil too well. I mean, it's a Mario game. There's not too much to spoil.
Yeah.
I'm sensitive to spoilers, but I sat down and I was like bored on Saturday, I think, and I was like, you know what? Donkey said he liked it. I'll pick up Bowser's Fury because I know my friends are gonna try to get me to play 3D World with them. I did not put my controller down for the next 5.5 hours as I 100%ed it.
That's awesome.
In a single sitting, which I think a lot of people are going to 100%. Like, I mean, obviously, it's a game that's very open to casual play and stuff, but I think a lot of core gamers are going to sit down and not be able to put this game down until they finish it. Like,
yeah, that's the sort of sentiment I've been hearing about this game, and that makes me really excited. And maybe you can talk a little more to this, but like, it seems like it's it has like some experimental elements for where Nintendo is thinking they'll take Mario in the future.
Yeah, I think it does. I think a lot of people are getting the wrong message from this, which is that Mario is going to have like an Odyssey, except like you can get to all the kingdoms from one place, and I don't think that's the case. I think they're going to do an Odyssey where every kingdom is styled like Bowser's Fury's entire world is, because Bowser's Fury's world is incredible and big, and you can explore it. But if it was any bigger than it is, it would be edging on too big, I think, for you to reasonably walk between the levels. And they are like you walk through these arches and like a level title comes up, the music changes, and you very clearly stepped into a Mario level at this point. And like you play through these obstacles and they feel discrete from the rest of the game, except it's totally immersive because like you can see the whole game happening around you. Like still, like it's all still there. And if you fall off, you don't die. You have to start over because you've fallen off the level and you have to go back to the beginning. And like the whole Bowser's Fury aspect, Bowser, I think it's like every 6.5 minutes or something, Bowser gets mad and starts attacking. My only design beef in the entire game, I think, is that there are a few cat shines that you can only get when Bowser's mad at you. And towards the end of the game, there was a little bit of me like, oh, it's been a while since he attacked. I better go towards one of those. And like they're extremely obvious and easy to get. And they're sort of there because,
sorry, I was just gonna say, I imagine fighting Bowser can get kind of old too.
You only have to fight him 3 times in the entire game.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to fight him. You get him to go away by collecting a cat shine. That calms him down.
Oh, okay.
At certain intervals of cat shines, you get big and you get to fight him. I will say that never got old. That was super fun every single time. And you actually get a decent reward, in my opinion, for 100%ing it. You get a more difficult version of the final boss.
Oh, that's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not like the graphics are all the same and stuff. It's literally just harder. But that was fine by me. Like I played a lot of the game and I was very interested in a harder boss fight.
So can you explain why everything's a cat in this game?
That's just a 3D world thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even the trees are like cat shaped, which is kind of.
I mean, it takes place in a place called Lake Lapcat. That's where that's the name of the world, and everything is cat themed there. All the enemies, Mario. I spent most of the game in the cat suit. The Tanuki suit's there as well, though, and I used it a fair share.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a good game. I think. I kind of hate that the only way to get it is by buying 3D World, because as a standalone $15 or $20 experience, it would be a no-brainer. I would recommend this to everyone I know. As a full $60 game, if you've already played 3D World, it's a hard sell because it is short.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's crazy because like I remember when they first announced the 3D World remake or a remaster rather for the Switch, they announced Super Mario 3D World / Bowser's Fury. And we saw a couple snippets from Bowser's Fury, but they never really made it clear what Bowser's Fury was exactly. Like, we weren't even sure if that was a separate game.
No, yeah, it was totally confusing. I just expected it to be a level pack for 3D World, which I would have been extremely happy to have. 3D World's super fun.
But
But what it
much
is
to my
just
surprise, is it's a separate game. Granted, it's short, but it's a separate game with experimental elements, which is really cool.
somebody pitched something to me the other day, and I am almost certain it won't happen. But if they did a remake of Sunshine as in the style of Bowser's Fury,
Yeah.
I mean it's a hard sell because you can already like the world of Sunshine already makes sense geographically. Like all the levels are there. They wouldn't have to add that much. But like that would be incredible. That would like remove.
That's a
I
cool
already love
idea, but
Sunshine.
it
Yeah, they'll
will
never
not
do it.
happen. Nintendo never remakes Mario games.
No. But
Yeah,
that is not true. Actually, they remade Super Mario 64, and Super Mario Bros. 3, and
Yeah.
When did they remake 60? Oh, you mean for DS?
yeah, that's a remake for sure. It adds way too much to be
Is it?
considered a remaster.
Okay.
Wait, they remade Yoshi's Island too. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Wait, they remade it? I thought they just ported it to Game Boy Advance.
I think it was like a port with a little bit of a remaster or a remake.
Because they full on remade Super Mario Bros. 3 with terrible visuals and music.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. I don't think they're going to be remaking a 3D
I don't
Mario
think that's going to happen
ever
but
again.
I just think it would be incredible. And like that idea is a good pitch for what the next Mario game could look like. Because obviously, like as good as Bowser's Fury is, it would have been better with Odyssey movement.
Yeah, so I actually purchased Super Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury as well, and I haven't touched Bowser's Fury yet. I'm looking forward to that. I have played like a few hours of Mario 3D World, and it's fun. I like it. It's just, like I told you, Connor, it's not blowing me away.
Yeah,
The movement, I definitely prefer Odyssey's movement.
Right.
The
It's not
movement feels
bad.
a little like it's not bad. Obviously, movement in Mario
It's
games is
boring, yeah.
always king. Like Mario's really good at movement. But like
Yeah.
it's a little floaty for my tastes. Like I would prefer the more fine-grained control that Odyssey gives you.
It's kind of interesting,
But
right? Because Odyssey is Odyssey is an open like level exploration Mario game that splits off every once in a while to do some straightforward platforming challenges. Bowser's
Yeah.
Fury is straightforward platform challenges that occasionally splits off to be exploratory, if that makes sense. But it's all totally cohesive. Like it never literally takes control away from you or splits off. It just like every once in a while, like usually the world is a way to get in between levels. Every once in a while, the world is something you're actually exploring. And I think that is the sell for me. Like 3D World is an amazing game. The only thing that really bothered me playing it is that it didn't really have the sense of immersion that a game like Galaxy had.
Yeah.
And this is
Or even Odyssey, I would argue.
well, yeah, Odyssey. I said Galaxy because Galaxy is more of a level clear Mario, like 3D World is.
Yeah.
And this fixes it. Like this controls exactly like 3D World, and it's still a level clear Mario at its core, really. But it's so immersive, and that's a hard word to use because it's not like I feel like this world is real, but it's a place. Like the whole place makes sense. It's all there. You can see it all the time. It's just a really smart, really good game.
I think the thing that excites me most about this game is just what it might be pointing to. Like I think that Nintendo, I think this game clearly gives you indications of what the next big Mario game is going. So
I think maybe,
and I do wonder, like yeah.
I'm not going to. So that's people keep saying that, right? Like people are like, hey, this is what Mario games are going to look like in the future, and if that's true, that'll be awesome.
Next one, rather. Yeah.
Yeah, just the next one. But even if that is not true, even if this is just an experiment and it's a one-off thing that they never touch again, I still love it. Like even if they never touch this formula again, they got it right the first time, I love to look at this and see what could be, but what's already there is so good that I think you lose some of that by like assuming that there's going to be more of it.
Okay, yeah. That's a fair point.
So, I mean, I'm not saying, it'll be amazing if they do more of it, but even if they don't, Bowser's Fury
it stands on its own.
Not leading to something, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I mean, And where I honestly kind of like that it's so short because I've been inclined to replay it. I 100%ed it in a single day, and it hasn't even been a week since then, and I've already like been kind of itching to play it again.
Shines are there to collect?
Huh?
How many are there to collect?
Everybody cover your ears if this is a spoiler for you, but there are 100
God.
cat shines.
Okay.
A lot of them are locked behind Bowser's rage mode stuff. Probably 10 or 15.
Yeah, and that's another interesting thing. The rage mode that's like on a timer, and then like when it activates, it modifies the world and like makes you able to do things that you weren't previously able to do. I'd like for Nintendo to bring that mechanic forward. That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. The only thing that's really annoying.
Nintendo will. Yeah.
So there are two things about that mechanic that annoys me. One is if I've just finished a level and I'm about to grab a cat shine, but suddenly Bowser attacks, and I'm like, oh, well, should I just walk away and go get one of the other cat shines that I can only get when Bowser's attacking? And then, like, come back and do this one that I can do anytime? That kind of sucks, that decision that you kind of have to make in the moment. For the most part, I ignored that, like, opportunity and would just continue playing, but, like, let the gameplay get more intense when Bowser attacks, which is clearly what they're going for. I was kind of overthinking it. The other thing is there is an amiibo that makes you force Bowser to attack whenever you want. If you use the Bowser amiibo, Bowser attacks, and that's terrible. That's the worst. Like, the fact that that's not available in the game normally really sucks. That's just them wasting your time. I will say, though, the last shine I got was not a Bowser attack shine. There were enough shines in the game that the second to last one I got was a Bowser attack. The last one was not. So they, like, perfectly timed that for me. But the odds of that being true for everybody are slim, I feel like.
Yeah, obviously that'll differ for everyone, but I think the important question to ask is, for the next big 3D Mario, what is the collectible item going to be? Because we've had stars, we've had shines, and we've had moons. That pretty much covers what they're going for, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it matters. I think they'll just do whatever they want. I mean,
yeah.
I like the cat shines. I think there's a weird amount of sunshine reference in this game. Also,
well, obviously, shines.
Yeah, but also you've got I didn't even mention this. Baby Bowser is hanging out with you the entire game, or Bowser Jr. And that's like neither here nor there. He's just kind of chill. His AI is really good. Like
the second player can control him, right?
Yeah, and at the beginning of the game, you have an option, like, and I guess anytime you want, you have an option to set how helpful he was, and I just left him on the default, and he never really got in my way, but I also never felt like he made the game too easy. It was just kind of like having a little buddy with you the whole time. He was fine. Plessy plays a major role in this, too. Plessy is how you get around, and I never liked Plessy in 3D World. I love him now. Like, he controls so well in Bowser's Fury, and he's always there when you want him. And Donkey mentioned that like it was a big deal. I don't really know. It felt like a pretty simple trick. Plus, he just kind of pops up anytime you're near water.
Yeah.
Like, you never have to look for him or anything. He's just always kind of there. Like, if you fall off a stage, plus he's probably going to pop up pretty close to you. I will also say the humor in this game is incredible. I actually, like, I don't bust out laughing from video game humor very often, but I did at the ending of this game. I thought it was so funny, I lost it.
I think Mario games are usually pretty good about humor.
It was just so jolly and, like, just so funny. I laughed very hard.
Yeah.
I won't spoil what it is, but I think everybody's going to like it.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out.
Other than the advanced boss fight, the rewards you get for 100% completion are pretty underwhelming. But I think that the harder boss fight is a fair reward given the amount of time it took. And like, it was a super completionable game.
Yeah. What else have you been playing?
Minecraft and Hitman 3.
Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hitman 3. So maybe we can tackle this one together. So. Yeah. Last episode, which was like 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point, I talked about Hitman 1 and 2, which, this is my first foray into the Hitman franchise, right? And I played both Hitman 1 and 2 through Hitman 3, which is neat, right? Because they get all the graphical and gameplay updates that Hitman 3 provides. But now, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I finally sat down and played Hitman 3 proper, and I think it's a very strong finish to the franchise. I don't think
you and I disagree a lot about Hitman 3.
I don't think we do we?
Well, I think you just calling it a strong finish to the franchise, I kind of disagree with.
I mean, the last level isn't very good, but
the last level is terrible, but I'm not even talking about that. I just think overall it's the weakest of the trilogy, but it does have the best level of the trilogy, which is confusing.
So I want to go through each of the levels. So so there's 5 levels.
Spoiler warning then for anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, so it starts out in Dubai, right? Top of the world, I think, is what the levels is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And it's a neat introduction to the game, right? Like, I think this level was a little limited in that it had to be the introductory level to Hitman 3.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that, though, because everybody who played any of the Hitman games got access to that tutorial level. Like,
that's true. Yeah,
they
facility.
tutorialized Dubai way too much for me, I think. And also, like, you look at the other first levels, you've got
they tutorialized Hawke's Bay and Hitman 2, though. They did the same thing for some reason.
Yeah, I don't even count Hawke's Bay as a level. That's just a tutorial. I thought Hawke's Bay was also given to everybody.
It wasn't. I don't think.
Hawke's Bay was definitely a free level for Hitman 2, because I played that before I bought the game. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I don't even count Hawke's Bay. But, like, so the first levels in my mind are Sapienza and Miami. That's what I'm comparing Dubai to. Or not Sapienza, Miami, Paris and Miami.
Paris, yeah.
And those two both are way better than Dubai in pretty much every way.
So, Miami is map 2 out of 5 of Hitman. Paris I'll give you because that's the first map, right? But like,
yeah, what's map 1? Is it Hawke's Bay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll just say Paris then. Paris is better than Dubai.
Yeah. Paris is such a hard bar to top, right? Paris is one of the best levels of all time.
And they also had to sell Hitman 1 being episodic with Paris. You know, they had to start extremely strong because they had not convinced you to buy the game yet.
Yeah, the 1-2 punch of Paris and Sapienza are like 2 of the best levels I've ever played in the game.
I feel like the tutorialization of Dubai is not the problem, though. Dubai has like 3 routes that I've been able to find so far, and maybe I'm not good at it because I have been worse at Hitman lately than I used to be. But like, I feel like there's only a few ways to get to the targets. And
yeah, so I haven't really replayed Dubai too much, so I have yet to explore more of it. But from what I played, my initial playthrough, yeah, it did seem a little limited. It seemed like there was a lot. There was a lot of verticality to it, which was cool, and a lot of vertical shortcuts you could unlock.
Right.
But like, I haven't really found a reason to use those yet. And I say yet because just knowing the developers for Hitman, I'm sure there's some hidden juiciness in that level. I just haven't.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Like, have you looked at the challenges at all? Like, because that's where the real juice of Hitman comes out, is when you, and I still haven't, like, I'm saying that Dubai is a bad level, as in it's a bad Hitman level. It's still incredible. Like,
yeah,
the only level in any of these games I'm ready to call bad is the final level of Hitman 3.
Yeah, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dubai was an okay opener, I think. But it didn't blow me away.
I think Sniper Assassin is that's a challenge that you do where you have to kill with a sniper rifle, if that's not obvious.
I haven't done any of the challenges yet, by the way.
I think Sniper Assassin on Dubai will be extremely fun. I haven't done it yet, but I have to imagine that finding a place where you can stealthily get out a sniper rifle and shoot someone in a skyscraper, because like the classic sniper position is a tall building near where you are, but you're in the tallest building, so like, where do you go? I haven't solved that puzzle yet, but I'm interested in doing it. So even though I don't love it, I think it's extremely cool.
Yeah, no, it's impressive certainly, but just by Hitman's already very high standards, it didn't shock and amaze me. Now we come to level 2, which is England, Death in the Family. I loved this level, Dartmoor. Yeah.
Yeah, this level I think is unique in that the first playthrough is going to be the most fun for most people of this one.
Which is a very new thing, very experimental thing for Hitman, because Hitman's all about the replayability. But for this particular level, the team went all in on your first time experience with it.
Right. I haven't replayed this level at all. Largely because I think it's going to be kind of annoying too, because I think you still have to gather the hints every time. But it's got a murder mystery thing going on.
Yeah. So have either of you seen the movie Knives Out?
No, I want to.
So yeah, this level is essentially just Knives Out,
really?
Which is well, I mean, the major story beats are different, but like the overarching premise, okay, murder in a mansion, private investigator comes to investigate and covers like conspiracies like amongst the family history and stuff like that. But Knives Out is a very, very good movie. Everyone should watch it. But this level, like, and again, like the main gimmick is like you dress up as the investigator and you solve the murder or whatever. But in Hitman fashion, you don't have to do that, right? Like there's different ways to complete your objective.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through that every time.
You don't even have to know who the killer is necessarily. Like you find opportunities to frame people and stuff halfway through, and like, cool.
Yeah, it was a very fun twist on Hitman gameplay, and I totally didn't see something like this coming, and it was very, very fresh and refreshing for this franchise to do. Yeah, so I came out of level 2 like riding really high. I thought that was incredible. Yeah. And then we get level 3, which is probably the best level in any Hitman game.
Yeah, far and wide. I actually thought it opened really weak. I didn't know where to go at first. I was wandering around that gas station for longer than I'm proud of. But the moment I figured out what was actually going on in this level,
when the title came up, I just smiled. I was like, "Oh my god, this is actually happening."
I leaned forward and lifted my controller. I got my gamer lean going, and like it was go time. I loved that level so much.
So
and
this
it
was
one.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was one of the ones where like a lot of levels I restart more than I'd like to. Like I'll mess something up and have to restart it. But this one, I was like wholly immersed. I was like, no, like this is Agent 47's. It's called Apex Predator. And it's in Berlin, I believe.
Yes, Berlin.
And oh my god, it's like you're walking around and there's, I believe, 5 agents that are there to kill you, and you have to kill them first.
In total, there's 10 agents, right? But you only have to kill 5 of them.
Okay, it's incredible. I wonder if you can kill all 10.
I don't think so, because I think like they retreat after you kill 5. But like I just love that. You don't really know what's going on until like it's revealed that the ICA is hunting you, and that first agent comes up, right? And then you are sneaking behind him, and then the mission title comes up, Apex Predator, right? And you finally understand what this mission is going to be, and just from there on, it's just a masterclass.
Yeah, I mean there was one position, I won't spoil how to get yourself into it, but I managed to get 3 of them all together at once and just took out a pistol and shot them all 3. Like,
yeah.
So, and like any other time that would feel bad in a Hitman game, because I like to do like the big like accidental kills and stuff. So, but in this exact circumstance, that felt so good.
Right. And I won't spoil the specific kills, but I do think it's important to mention the setting of this level, right? I don't think we mentioned that yet. It's in Berlin, but it takes place in a nightclub on the outskirts of the city. Yeah, and it's such a perfect setting, right? Because like there's all these different facilities. There's like secret rooms. There's like the big dance floor and everything.
Yeah, it feels like the biggest level in the game, I think.
Yeah, and it lends itself to so many creative kills. Like I guess this is somewhat of a spoiler, and I won't go into the details, Connor, but because I think you should discover this for yourself. But I managed to get a kill as the DJ. Like I dressed up as the DJ. Yeah, you mentioned that to me. Yeah. And it was just so incredibly satisfying.
See, I had one left, and I was on the dance floor, and I saw him, and I was like, man, if this was real life, this would kind of work. And so I just pulled out a silenced pistol and shot him while I was in the middle of the crowd, and then put it away and walked out. And nobody people freaked out because they heard a gunshot and saw a guy die, but they had no idea it was me, and that was neat.
Yeah. So, and like there's the nightclub itself, which is huge, and there's like a few areas around the nightclub, like a special like private club, and like I think there's like a biker gang hideout too that you can explore, and there's stuff
Yeah.
there as well.
Yep, there
So
is.
yeah, this level impressed me so much. It's right up there, like like my pantheon of elite Hitman levels, which are like Paris, Sapienza, Hokkaido,
Yeah.
Miami, and now this. I think are just elite and in a class of their own.
Can't like the fact that 3 of those levels are in Hitman 1 is incredible though.
Yeah, yeah, they really
But
started
yeah.
out strong.
Yeah, no, this level it's just extremely good. I'm gonna play it so many times. And the fact that there are 10 people to kill and you only have to kill 5 of them, I feel like that alone multiplies the replayability so much on that level.
Yeah, because like different agents have like different conversations with each other, and like they certain ones like team up and stuff. So there's a lot of permutations to this.
Yeah.
So excellent level. And then from there we go to Chongqing, China, right? And this level I liked it, right? But it was definitely after Berlin. It was a step down, I think.
There's only one thing I really didn't like about this level, and that was the ending. So, without spoiling too much, as far as I can tell, there's something in this level you can't do until you've killed both targets.
Right.
And I haven't replayed it yet, but as far as I can tell, it's going to play out exactly the same every single time. And I never like that in a Hitman game.
So I think there are different ways to accomplish that objective at the end, but like the very end, like where you have to like escape, I think will be the same.
Yeah, they like call, you get caught no matter what you do, you get caught at the end. And that's not fun. Like the fact that and getting caught is fun. Getting caught in Hitman is fun if you try to save it. That's always pretty fun. But the fact that that's going to be the same every single time I replay that level, every time I try to do a challenge, every single time, like that's not interesting at all.
Yeah, I think an otherwise strong level is brought down by that, like you said. But I think it just speaks to the strength of Sapienza that like Sapienza has like the same ending every time, but it's still one of the greatest levels ever made.
Sapienza doesn't have the same ending every time.
The virus?
You can do that. You can do the virus first.
Oh yeah, okay.
You don't have to do that in the same order. And there's also
that's really interesting. I always do the virus last, but the
virus is basically another target in Sapienza. Yeah. So I don't mind. I hated the virus at first, but once I realized that there were so many different ways to handle the virus, and like that you could destroy the virus first and then handle the rest of the level, that really opened it up for me.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, like I think the atmosphere was really good in this level, like probably the best atmosphere out of any of the levels. I think. Yeah. The neon lights, and there's Chinese slums.
That level's big, which is weird because I spent the entire level in like one building, but like there's clearly a very large outdoor area, so there's got to be a lot to discover in that level that I haven't seen yet. Like I saw a laundromat for one thing during my escape. And I think like, I can probably steal a uniform there or something, like.
Yeah, and I think there's actually like a mission story associated with the laundromat as well. So I think the laundromat definitely has a bigger role to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think moving on from that, we go to Mendoza.
Yeah, you liked Mendoza a lot.
Mendoza is my second favorite level in this. Well, it's tough because I really liked England as well, but Mendoza is up there for me. I think it's one of the best Hitman levels. I think
I just had a bad playthrough of Mendoza. I think I only played it once, and I think I just kind of did bad and didn't have a great time because of it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna kind of reserve judgment because like I didn't see anything that makes it a bad level. I just didn't really enjoy my playthrough of it. I think.
I think Mendoza should have been the finale to Hitman. I think
I agree,
and it could have worked as the finale as well. Like where it ended, like I mean, obviously the story doesn't really matter as much as the gameplay, but like where it ended story wise, it could have ended there.
And I think it would have been way better if the Constant surprisingly showed up at the end of Mendoza, like, and you had to kind of adapt, like thinking you had already finished your mission, suddenly you have to adapt that there's another target on the board. That would have been a fun twist.
Yeah, I think overall I think Mendoza, so it takes place at like at a fancy party at like a winery, right?
Yeah, it kind of felt like a last level even.
It really did, it sort of brought back I think it was also the largest level. Like I could be wrong
Yeah,
about that.
definitely square footage wise. I don't
Yeah.
know if like actual activity wise, but I think it was probably square footage wise the largest.
And yeah, I think there, and obviously, like you said, you think you had a bad playthrough, but from my experience, I think there's a huge variety of things to do in that level. A lot of really cool kills to get in that level. And yeah, overall, I was just super impressed by it. And then we come to
Romania.
Carpathian Mountains, Romania, which is the final level, which really is sort of the antithesis of everything the Hitman games stand
It's
for.
a third-person shooter. Like you don't even have to stealth.
It turns into like a poor
encourages you
man's
not to.
Uncharted, right?
Yeah,
Like
it
at least
encourages you to
Uncharted,
shoot everyone. Like
Uncharted is built to play like that. Hitman is not. So
yeah, it was literally the first level, or no, the train level from Uncharted 2.
yeah,
Like it was really boring.
and like it was fine for what it was. I was like, okay, they're going to end on a linear note, which kind of sucks. But like, so it takes place all within one train, which
Could have been
sucks
cool.
because like Hitman takes place in these insane, expansive environments, but like you're limited to this confined train for the finale.
No,
And I
think the
initially
train
thought
could have
when
been
I was
cool
playing
if you
it,
were moving, if the train wasn't linear, like if you were moving back and forth between train cars and like having to do stealth in these close quarters and stuff, I think
that
a
could have
train
been
could have
cool.
been cool. They just
Yeah.
did it badly.
But I thought when I was first playing through it that the train was going to lead me to the actual final level. So I was pretty excited the whole time through because I was looking forward to like, maybe the top of the mountain would be like the final setting.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It just ended in the train, which
Now, and there's one more thing that really bothered me about this level. It wouldn't have redeemed the level to me, but it would have made it slightly better. And I think I've already mentioned this to you, Ahmed, but there's a serum that's important in the game. It's like a serum that 47 had gotten before.
Mhm.
And you wake up in like a medical bay where you find a bunch of paperwork about the serum and stuff, but the serum's not there. Later, when you get to the constant, that your target for this level, he just has the serum on him for some reason, and like your options are to either kill him or give him the serum. And like a neat decision, however, had the serum been something you had to get at the beginning of the level and carry to the end, like something you actually had to find to get a secret ending or something,
yeah.
that would have been so much more rewarding than like, oh, it's here. Like, why
that's
did
actually
he have that in his desk?
That's
Like,
a great idea. I don't think you mentioned that to me before. That's a fantastic idea of how to improve this
it
level.
would have made the level so much better. And I still don't think it would have reached good, but it would have reached better for sure.
Yeah, so not really much to say about this last level, but I think, the combination of Mendoza and obviously Berlin and Dartmoor, England, those three levels really, I think, carry Hitman 3. And I think it can stand proudly beside 2 and 1. Personally.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think it's my least favorite of the trilogy, but it's still an extremely good game.
Yeah, and overall, like this trilogy is something else.
Yeah,
like
it is.
You get, let's see, 20 maps, 20 levels, 19 of which are superb, like, and of those 19 superb ones, there's a few in there that I would consider some of the video game's all-time great levels, like, so all in all, like, bravo to IO Interactive for their work on the Hitman franchise.
Yeah.
I think they've done outstanding work and set standards for level design for future game developers.
They've definitely earned the James Bond license. I think they're going to knock that out of the park.
Yeah, next they're going to be working on James Bond. And it's funny. I definitely think a lot of what we saw in Hitman 3 felt like an audition for James Bond.
It did. I mean, Dubai is literally just scene for scene out of Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
I forget which one it is, but the one where he climbs that exact same tower.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think Mendoza especially felt kind of Bond-esque, like especially with some spoilery events that happened in that mission. But
yeah, I agree.
So IO Interactive, very, very talented developer, and I'm very excited to see what they do with Bond. And
I mean, Agent 47 is very Bondish, except he doesn't have an ego about him the way Bond does.
The only unfortunate thing is that we're not going to get more Hitman for a long time now, which is kind of sad.
I do think it's a huge misstep that they put such a final conclusion on the story no one cares about. Like they ended it with a lot of finality, I feel like.
Yeah, but like it's so easy from a writing perspective to put him back into a position where he's going to be doing what he does, right?
It's still such a mistake because nobody cared about the story in the first place. It's garbage.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah, they could have stripped it out and the game would be better for it, honestly, because like the couple of times the constant has appeared throughout the series have been the worst parts of the game. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it just sucks because like Hitman 3 is easily the best selling of the franchise. And and I think, they finally hit this level of insane financial success as they stop working on it, which is just
the story was just a mistake because like the parts that are bad of Hitman 3 are bad because they're trying to feed this narrative no one cares about. Like, I think the worst parts of Dubai are that people in your comms won't shut up. Like, people keep trying to talk to you as you walk by stuff, and like, I don't care. I get it. I've played the level before. Like,
it's just I like I said before to you, Connor, like I would kill for maybe that team to split in half and half of IO to just churn out Hitman levels for all time, and then the other half make their Bond game. But that's not going to happen, unfortunately.
But even then, that Bond game is going to be really good. I mean,
that Bond game is going to be great when it finally happens, but it is years out at this point, I think.
Yeah. So a new Hitman game would have been cool.
But yeah,
Hitman 2 was 2018 or something, right? Like,
yeah. So this ends my journey with the Hitman trilogy. So happy I got into it. It's so excellent.
It does not end your journey with Hitman though, because I will point you towards a little game called Blood Money that is also incredible.
Oh, before I even consider other Hitman games, I have so much more to play of the trilogy. Like these games are designed to replayed to death, and I've barely scratched the surface of replaying them. Like I've only replayed a few levels, so I still have many dozens of hours more to spend with Hitman. It's just my initial playthrough of all of the levels has been completed. I still have like the side missions and like the challenges and stuff and escalations and all of that. So
yeah, I was a little disappointed. I didn't know that escalation like deluxe escalation or whatever was locked behind DLC. I find that kind of
I think aren't there escalations for the previous games though?
Yes, and there are non-deluxe escalations that you get in Hitman 3. They're just not out yet.
Yeah, I don't even know what an escalation is. Like, I just know it's more stuff to do.
You go into the same map, but I believe sometimes you have a different target, sometimes you have the same target, but security and stuff changes and gets worse every time. Okay. Like, they add cameras, they add guards. It does enough to keep it interesting, in my opinion. I've only done Paris on escalation.
Yeah. So, yeah, Hitman, like, even when you play through it, it is the game that keeps giving. You can play this game for forever, by my estimation.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Hitman is great. And there is one more game I've been playing, because it's been so long since we've recorded, and I guess I can go into that now. I've been playing Control Ultimate Edition.
Oh, that game's so good. This was my game of the week a while back, too. Yeah.
So, PlayStation actually, for the free games for February, gave away Control Ultimate Edition on PS5 for free, which was great. I've hovered over the buy button for Control so many times and then just not done it.
I did too.
Yeah, this finally happens, and now I have it for free. So I really enjoy. So the best thing about this game is its physics-based gameplay. That is like
really,
I think.
I mean, that's not a bad take or anything. It's just not what I would say is the best part.
What do you think is the best part?
I think the world. I think the world building and stuff.
The atmosphere is really good. Yeah.
The SCP style world. Really, and I like Jesse Faden.
The character's really good. Yeah. The story's kind of nonsensical, I will say. Like, I didn't really care too much for it, but
I don't really agree with that. I thought the story was good. I definitely didn't. I didn't think it was nonsensical. I didn't think it was bad at all. I wouldn't say it was the best part. The world building was way better than the actual story.
I agree with that. Yeah, like I wasn't too impressed by the story, but the world, the concept of this, the place you're in called the Oldest House, which is this like ever shifting, almost living building, infinitely big building that you're in.
The house is way more interesting than the Hush, which is the antagonist.
The Hiss, right?
The Hiss, yeah. Sorry.
So I think Right. The world is very interesting, I think. But to me, I'm in love with the gameplay, specifically how physics based it is. Like, so Jessie's powers, she's basically like telekinetic, right? Psychic. She can like uh levitate objects and throw them, and like the cool thing about this game is like everything in this building is destructible and almost everything is throwable. So like by the time you get all your powers, like battles become this chaotic mess
And it
of
looks really good.
objects flying everywhere, breaking everywhere. Like yes, video games have had destruction for a long time, but no video game has done it quite like this.
Yeah, and
Which
it
is-
does a really good job of selling it. Like, and the setting contributes to that as well, I think. Like the destructible, like there are a couple of parts where you're like walking through like a stony quarry area, and the destruction is good there, but it feels kind of like something we've seen before. But when you're like shooting your way through the office sections of the first house, that
Yep.
looks so good. The paper's flying everywhere, and like
Yes.
just stuff going crazy.
And yeah, I think I actually just finished the main story last night, and it immediately jumps into like the DLC, which I get for free because it's the Ultimate Edition, which is awesome.
I also played the Ultimate Edition, yeah.
So I'm currently working through the Foundation, and you know, like overall, like I think what they have here actually reminded me a lot of Infamous, which is I think why the gameplay resonated with me so much. Infamous is also that like, you know, superhero based, you have your powers, you have your abilities, but the core is just like, you know, third person shooter gameplay.
Yeah.
This reminded me a lot of that, and I really give it ups for that.
I think the Foundation is the better of the two DLCs. The other one is basically an ad for Alan Wake.
Yeah, I started it and I was like, yeah, one, I was just like, I don't really care about Alan Wake, and two, this is way too difficult for me at my current like level. Because I
Yeah.
started it like way before I beat the game, and I was just like, this is weirdly hard.
I beat it before I beat the game. I did wait until I had leveled up a little bit though. Yeah. I think the thing about Control that I find really interesting is the production value on the side quests. Because some of them are as good, if not better, than the main story. Like there's a whole like side story about like you learn about a character, a group of characters, it's not super clear, called the Board. But there is a character that isn't the Board, that is kind of like the Board, and you only really learn about them through side quests.
Yeah,
I forget what they're called.
I think I must have missed this.
Yeah,
But
if you missed this entirely, that's that's crazy that you're allowed to do that. But like, yeah, I mean, most of the boss fights in the game are side quests.
I have discovered, yeah, like a lot of the boss fights have been side quests. And just judging by the trophy list, I still have like two major side bosses left.
Yeah,
So I have to do a little more exploring to find those. But yeah, like I think the strongest aspects of this game are definitely the gameplay as well as the oldest house.
yeah.
The weakest aspects for me, like I know you said you liked the story quite a bit. Like story was just sort of lukewarm for me. Like it
Yeah.
seemed, it was like a little too abstract for its own good, I think.
See, I feel the opposite. I like how little I understood of the story.
I would have liked that if I felt like they were actually. At times I felt like they were just being obtuse to be obtuse, which I didn't like. But
I think you might need more of the side missions to make it make sense.
maybe
a little more.
yeah. And you know, I will say another thing, like the collectibles, like there's so many like entries and audio logs and stuff like that in this game.
Yeah, I'm not
First-
usually one to read those, but I liked them, and
For the
mainly because
first-
I like SCP stuff, and that's clearly what this was.
Yeah. And actually, like, I've never really been introduced to SCP stuff before, so this was sort of my first exposure to it. Like, I'd heard of it, but I never, like, looked into the media and stuff.
This
So for
is
the-
probably the best video game adaptation of SCP, in my opinion.
So for the first few hours, I did read, like, the first 2 hours or so, I read everything I picked up, but then after that, it's just sort of grated on me. Like, just wanted to play the game, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's fair. I didn't.
Just the
I didn't hit
volume,
that
the
point.
sheer volume of collectibles is insane. Like
It's
I
a
don't
lot.
think I've ever seen this many and like journal entries and stuff in a video game.
What hit me as weird that I ended up liking was the mix of live action video with
Yeah, that was trippy. Yeah,
because that doesn't usually work, but it worked here. Like The way that they handle it is that all the live action video is video in the game. Like
Yes.
you're watching it on a screen in the game, and that like disconnect is just enough to make it not terrible. And it is uncanny, but that just contributes to it. Like I loved it.
Yeah, and I think so. All this to say, like I enjoyed my time with it, but I do think that this will be maybe like, for an analogy, the Uncharted 1 to the inevitable Uncharted 2. I think
God, I hope
Control
so.
2, whenever it happens, is going to be a mind-blowing, phenomenal game. Whereas
Control
I
2
think
is so far out though, because
yeah,
they're making an Alan Wake game right now.
whereas this game to me, it was a good game, right? Like I thought it was very good. It didn't like it's not great yet to me, and I think Control 2 could be great. But that's just my opinion.
It reached great to me. It was like an 8 out of 10 probably.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Which is still good. Very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I've talked a lot. I think
I was gonna say, Mike, I can't help but notice you've been awfully quiet.
I completely zoned out for the last half an hour plus.
It hasn't been half an hour. It's been 26 minutes.
It's something like that. I zoned out.
It's pretty much half an hour.
It was a long time. So I don't know if I talked about Slay the Spire yet. I'm gonna start off with that.
I'm excited to.
I think you mentioned it last
I think
week.
you're gonna talk about that. I'm excited to hear about.
I think you mentioned it last episode, but yeah.
I mentioned I was going to talk about it, but I think I talked about something else. But Slay the Spire is a roguelike deck builder, which is a lot. Honestly, I picked it up like a year or two ago. I think in like a Humble Bundle or something. And then I really didn't play it until over Christmas. I was just remote playing it because I was out and about. And man, it's actually a lot of fun. Because every game is kind of shaped by how you decide to start building your deck, because every enemy you defeat gives you a card.
Yeah.
And you're at the luck of a draw. Say if you're playing the rogue character and you don't get poison, you're building a different deck that's not poison then. Even if you set out to build a deck, you're going to end up building something differently every time.
Yeah, that sort of dynamism, like the fact that like your strategy can change completely based off the luck of what happens, that really has sort of drawn me to this game. Like, I know that whenever I end up buying it and playing it, I'm going to get addicted to it. That's kind of why I keep holding off.
I put like 12 hours into it over just that little period. But the only downside of that whole randomness is that sometimes you can just get bad draws and lose a run like that. Like sometimes you just can't get set up properly and game's over.
That's rough. I don't necessarily like that in roguelikes.
I had a powerful build, but I got to the end. The only reason it had happened like that is because I didn't remove enough cards from my my deck. Which is an option. I had a lot of junk cards in there that I should have gotten rid of, but I didn't.
How long's a run?
A run's like 30 minutes at most.
That's not too bad.
That's to get like the end boss, depending on how you set yourself up. If you're setting yourself up for tank, it can be a lot longer. But if you're setting up for damage, it can.
Because that's like something that really bothered me in Noita, was that I would kind of be building towards a certain wand that I planned on killing the boss with, and it's like an hour to get to the boss if you're not like rushing through it, and then you get to the boss and you never found that one spell you need, and you just can't beat it. And you're just kind of stuck.
Yeah, no. Slay the Spire does not suffer from the problems of like other roguelikes where it runs a long time, and if you die, you've lost hours of progress.
Yeah.
If you die, you've lost maybe 15 minutes of progress at most. And so it doesn't feel bad to restart over and over again with the same character.
That's good.
Yeah, I might have to check it out. You guys know I'm big on roguelikes, but I'm not a big card game guy, so
I didn't think I was either until I started playing it.
I think I even have it. I just haven't played it.
Yeah, this seems like the perfect Switch title, I think.
Yeah.
I think it is on Switch. It might be.
That's where I'm going to get it.
Hold on.
It is. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, it's definitely one of those titles you can just play mobily. Since I remote played it worked perfectly fine on a touchscreen phone interface.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like an awesome like parking lot game. Like while you're waiting, something that's come up lately a lot for me is waiting for my groceries when I do pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good game. I really do enjoy it, and I'm honestly glad I played a lot of it because it's a gem, and it's a
I'm gonna have
lot
to check
deeper
it
than it
out.
just looks at and like first look. Because each of the 4 characters has like a different build style and different unique cards available to them. Like one character operates on magic casting, and you can build absurd amounts of block and just sit there and not take damage anymore for an entire fight.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And it's
the variety, like the sheer variety of different like builds and stuff like that, that's definitely something that's attractive to me about this game too.
yeah,
This and Dicey Dungeons have both been really attractive to me
One day I will buy it.
for kind of similar reasons.
and it's only $25, which is well worth it. And they keep adding content to it as well. That's all I have to say about Slay the Spire. But I have been playing another game that I could talk about for years.
God, I
Yeah.
hope it's Valheim.
It is Valheim, actually.
I was
Okay,
really wanting to hear you
so
talk about this because I keep
so-
hearing about it and I don't
Mike,
know what it is.
Exactly. You got to tell me all about this game because I keep hearing it and I keep seeing that it's blowing up, but I have no idea what this is.
So a lot of people have like these weird conceptions about it, like, oh, it's just you start the game, it feels like every other survival crafting game where you're out gathering resources and you're just kind of aimlessly wandering around. Then you go fight the first boss, and then the game really, really starts to get fun. Because that first boss he's easy, and he's a nice introduction into the fact that things will hurt, and they hurt really bad, and you will die quickly.
So is this like a survival game or?
It has survival elements, but I wouldn't call it like a full-on survival game since the hunger bar doesn't exist. There's no thirst meter. Eating is completely optional. If you want to build your entire base, you don't have to eat. Eating just gives you a stamina buff and increases your health pool. So it gets rid of a lot of that monotony. Like tools you don't need materials to repair your tools. So if your tools break, you can just go to your workbench and repair them there. Repairing walls and stuff doesn't require any materials. And it gets rid of a lot of that monotony of you go out, gather a bunch of materials, and then you spend like 90% of those materials repairing the things you used to gather the materials. And it just has this meaningful progression. Like I've been playing with a friend of mine, and we've spent actually not 10 hours. I think our playthrough is like 26 hours in or something like that. But we've spent literal hours just building a fortress, and it's been enjoyable that entire time. Like not even making meaningful progression, because at that point we were just minding our business when the forest started invading us, and we were surrounded by goblins.
That sounds really cool. I need to try this game.
It's really, really interesting.
It sounds
And
like very dynamic.
It is it's dynamic. Like you go into a new biome, and when you first set foot in the biome's really threatening, and you got to be really careful with your combat. You got to be really considering of what you do and what hits you take and what hits you don't take. It's very, very interesting. There's dungeons to raid through because you need to hit those to get your cores for your smelters. And there's sailing. It's not a Viking survival game without the aspect of sailing.
That is true.
And God, it's so satisfying to just sail. Like everything just blends together to make this sense of exploration and kind of wonder. You land on a new island, and it's not like, oh, it's the same as the old island. It's more of what biomes are here, what can kill me, what can't. Do I go here, or will I get one shot by a mosquito?
Yeah, this sounds like it'd be super fun to play with like a bunch of people.
Yeah, it's super enjoyable. I'm having a blast. Like every time I boot it up, I'm basically committed myself to playing it for 6 hours straight.
Jeez.
Like you just don't want to stop. Like there's always something else to do. Like the second boss is, spoiler, a giant tree.
And I had 3 people. It was me, a friend of mine, and another friend. We decided to take on the second boss. I was pretty confident that we could take it pretty easily. And the game kind of took the difficulty curve and just turned it into a cliff all of a sudden. Just for this boss. Like, he was two-shotting me, and I was max geared for that section of the game. And it was hectic, and we were just like, we were basically panicking. Is what we were doing. Like, my one friend had died and forgot to set a spawn next to the boss arena, so had to run from our makeshift base where we had a teleporter to the boss arena, which was across this dangerous biome.
This game has teleporters?
Yes, it basically sets up fast travel points, so you don't have to sail everywhere. Like, once you land on a place, you can pop down a teleporter and hook it up to your main base, so you don't have to go back and forth. But you can't teleport or ingots. So you have to actually sail iron and stuff back and forth.
So it's a good way to get places, but not a good way to get home.
It's a good way to get there and back, say if you're doing like wood gathering or any other kind of temporary resource gathering or fighting a boss, but it's really not useful if you're mining.
Yeah.
Like, you're still gonna have to ship it back on a ship. Combat's, I gotta talk about combat. Combat has like these Dark Souls elements where every enemy has like these attack patterns, and they're very easy to play around. But it's not as unforgiving as Dark Souls. You die, a tombstone is left. You can pick up everything but one item out of that tombstone, die again, and that old tombstone will still be there.
I think that's good for this sort of game, right? It's not trying to be this ultra punishing gauntlet.
Yeah. It's taking all the fun elements of survival, which is that exploration and that wanderlust, and getting rid of all the masochism that is kind of there in survival games right now.
Yeah, it kind of. I've heard a lot about like The Forest and like Rust and like a bunch of these survival games, and none of them have ever appealed to me. But Valheim kind of does. So this might be where I jump on, because you've played a lot of these, right? Like,
I played a little bit of Rust and was instantly turned off of Rust because, it was just shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
I don't like games that are like that.
Yeah. So yeah.
I played the Forest. I played with a couple friends for a little bit, and it was fun, really fun for a little bit, but then it got kind of stale quickly.
Valheim, I've gone almost 30 hours into Valheim, and it's not even getting close to stale. Like, we're setting up to fight the 3rd boss out of 5. And every time you defeat a boss, you get equipment to go into the next biome and fight there. And for an early access game, I've encountered maybe one bug.
That's nice.
And it wasn't even like major.
And you said there's enough content in this game that like you feel good about the price you paid for it already.
Yeah, I already feel good about that $20 I spent.
So it's kind of like satisfactory early access more so than like Rust early access.
Coincidentally, it's published by the same company that's making Satisfactory.
Oh, Coffee Stain?
Yeah, Coffee Stain Publishing is.
Oh, if I had known that, I'd have been on board way sooner. I like Coffee Stain. They did Goat Sim too, right?
They did Goat Sim. They did Sanctum.
Yeah, no, they're good. That just puts that immediately makes me put a lot of faith in it.
They put their mark of approval on the game, and you know what? It definitely deserves it. They have an entire content roadmap set up too.
I'll probably have to check. Actually, I might have to. I'm torn. I want to check out Little Nightmares this weekend.
I bet the best part about it is the invasions actually escalate as you defeat more bosses. So it'll start off. Your first invasion will be from the first boss, who will send your fodder enemies at you, your gray dwarfs, and you can just fight them off, kite them. We defeated the second boss, and I was sailing out to go put our boat next to our iron deposits. And my friends are like, why are there trolls at our base? Turns out there were trolls invading us now. And trolls do a lot more damage to buildings than the hordes of Boy Scouts that they sent out at first. So I like the gradual escalation of invasions and difficulty of combat, because a lot of survival games just kind of throw a difficulty curve at you and call it a day. Like Ark had this problem where once you were at the top on Ark, there was really nothing to do anymore.
Yeah.
And it was super easy to get to where there was not a lot to do other than PvP.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna have to check this game out. It sounds like it fixes, or at least tries to fix, most of my issues with survival games.
Yeah, and there's still like grinding, but even like cutting down trees is satisfying because you can die to trees. Yeah, it's a battle. Like deforesting's a battle, and that's entertaining. Like a tree could fall down on another tree and knock that tree down, which could knock down another tree, and just create a domino effect of clearing an entire forest.
Very reactive.
It is the world interacts with you. You throw a tree into the river, you can jump on the tree and roll it back to land. It's like I'll never forget the moment where my friend's cutting down a tree and I think I'm like messing with OBS or something. I think I have a clip of it. I'll have to edit it down. I'm not paying attention. I look back to my screen and see a tree falling on me and just managed like a yelp as I died to this tree. Even during combat with like bigger enemies, they'll knock down trees and you'll have to pay attention to those as well. The game does a lot to try and keep your attention, and it really succeeds in that. Plus, it looks very much like an PS2 era game in terms of like texture quality. But you throw that with like a modern lighting engine and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for the lighting system, I feel like I'd be back playing like a PS2 in like middle school or elementary school.
It's good to hear that the lighting has an impact, right? Because like just PS2 level graphics by themselves can look kind of
terrible,
polygony.
Yeah.
Like the soundtrack's good. The graphics are just low res enough that they look artsy, and it really kind of adds to that mystical nature that they're going for. And they'll sometimes like throw Norse god references in there. Sometimes you'll see Odin in the background, just kind of watching you. And if you look at him, he'll vanish.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's just a lot of little elements and a lot of discovery. Especially when I started playing, when the wiki hadn't been updated since like the early access alpha. So there was no information about the game. So it was just all discovery.
That's always a fun phase in like these kind of survival games. Like I remember when Minecraft was sort of like that too, where like you didn't know the recipes and you had to like just sort of experiment and figure them out.
Yeah.
This one's the crafting system's even intuitive because as you pick up something, you'll learn the crafting recipes that use it. Say you pick up a piece of flint, you'll learn all the flint gear. So you can start crafting it.
Yeah, Mike, I'm looking at images of Valheim and it looks gorgeous. I don't know, like this does not look like PS2 graphics to me.
You'll see it on like character models, but it's still a gorgeous
The environments look incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Like people get caught up on the low res textures, but sometimes textures don't make the game. You can do a lot of low res.
Yeah, you can.
And Valheim nails it. Like even the water effects are beautiful.
This definitely seems like it's becoming. I don't know if it'll become as big as like the previous like viral games, but like it's definitely catching on.
I think
you think so?
Let me check Steam stats. I think it's hit. It is number 2 currently on Steam with 374,000 peak players.
Yeah, that's
pretty big. Yeah,
getting there.
That's massive. That's absolutely huge for a small indie game in early access to reach the number 2 game on Steam.
It's so interesting to me because like this trend isn't stopping. You know, like these indie games randomly blowing up and jumping to the top of Twitch. You know, like it's kind of started in
Twitch
the pandemic.
Streamers that are causing this. Like right now, Valheim on Twitch, I don't even think it's not in the top 5 games on Twitch. It's actually number
Valheim's
9.
still, I think Valheim's still in its like growth stage. You know, like it's exploding in popularity right now, I think.
Like even looking at graphs, it's been a gradual growth instead of like the peaks you'll see for a streamer game.
Okay.
Because I think Valheim's unique in that a lot of more people want to play it than want to watch some big personality actually play it. Which is different from like Rust spikes, where people didn't want to play Rust, and I don't blame them, and just wanted to watch people play Rust.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm almost certainly going to check this one out. It looks very, very interesting.
I'd recommend. Valheim's a candidate for Game of the Year for this year. I know it's only February and we have a whole year left, but it's a candidate. It's definitely on my list of games that I'll think about for the rest of the year.
That's high praise. All right. Yeah, I think that'll do it for us this week. Thank you guys for listening. You can follow us at @podcastgametalk on Twitter. You can like, rate, and review us on any podcast service you use. And click the link in the description of this podcast to join our Discord and talk to us there. Thank you, Connor and Mike.
Yep. See you guys next week.
Catch you next time. Bye.
See ya.